Want to know how much it would cost to turn this into this right now? Well, I'm going to break down the cost of every modification to my 4th gen 4Runner here, right down to the dollar for you. Now, a couple of notes here. This doesn't include sales tax, which that's different based on where you live, of course, and it doesn't include the cost of labor. So the reason for that being, some people like to wrench themselves and they're not paying labor at all. Other people go to really expensive shops that overcharge like crazy. Some people go to backyard mechanics that do it for a case of beer. It's just too hard to estimate that. And the other thing is that some of these parts on this thing were actually sponsored and I didn't have to pay for them. I know, it sounds pretty good, right? And honestly, that's one of the reasons why I think every car guy should have a YouTube channel or some kind of social media presence. There's a lot of opportunities out there on the internet these days, so maybe I'll dive into a little bit more of that kind of stuff. I already do on my Instagram account, kind of behind the scenes of the business and stuff, but let me know if you want to know more about that kind of stuff here as well. So if you want to replicate my exact V8 4Runner here in 2024, this is what it's going to cost you. Actually, one sec, let me go get my computer. I got a spreadsheet here with all the damage on it. Okay, so for starters, let's talk about the 4Runner itself. I bought this a few years ago, 5 or 6 years ago, with 200,000 K on it. It's a 2007 limited model, it's got the V8, and I paid $14,000 Canadian for it. So from this point on, I think I'm going to switch it over to USD just to make it easier. The majority of my audience is American, but I'm going to throw on the screen the exchange rate as well. Okay, let's dive into the modifications here. And I've already done kind of like a build breakdown video showing all the stuff on here. I've done some individual videos as well, reviewing some of these parts, so I'm going to kind of keep it brief and just run through the cost. So starting with the Fox 2.0 coilovers, and that's what I'm running up front here. If you were to buy those right now, those are about $1,100, and it depends on where you buy them. I was looking just this morning, and 4Wheel Parts has them for one price, and I think Shock Surplus or something like that has them for way more expensive. So make sure you're shopping around if you do want to buy those. Then we have the matching Fox 2.0 rear shocks for $399.99, and mine are the internal reservoir ones. They don't have the external piggybacks on them. I'm sure those are quite a bit more expensive. Sticking with the rear suspension, I also have Old Man Emu 895 rear springs. And in order to put those on, I had to do the conversion to switch to coil springs from the factory air ride on this. And so I have a Metaltech coil spring conversion in the back. Okay, so first of all, the springs were $214. And then the Metaltech conversion is $279.95, and that's not the exact one that I bought. That's their current, I think it's like the 2.0 kit. I don't think they sell this old one anymore, and it sounds like this new one is much better in every way. Okay, let's talk wheels and tires. And honestly, even to this day, I feel like these Method race wheels are a really good deal. I mean, they're a really reputable brand name. They're super popular in the off-road community. They have really good designs, just an overall cool company. And really nice wheels. These are coming in at $969 for a set of 4 of them right now on Tire Rack, which for under $1,000 for 4 wheels that look pretty cool and have a decent company backing them up, I still think that's a pretty darn good bargain if you ask me. And the tires that I have them wrapped in, these are Goodyear Duratracs, and I'm running 285 70-17s. These ones are actually a load range D. I think you could also get them in an E, and that'll probably be a different price because it's a different sidewall. These ones came down to $1,247.96. Would I get them again if I was going to build this thing all over again? I'm not sure. I think 5 years ago when I bought these tires, they were kind of unique in that they were really aggressive for an AT tire. But I feel like since then, there's been a lot of really good tires that have hit the market, and I think when these wear out, I wouldn't necessarily replace them again. I don't have any real beef with them, but I'm kind of interested to see what else is out there. The Motomasters that I have on the Tacoma, I'm really impressed with. I haven't really done much off-roading with them, but in terms of an off-road tire on road, they're like whisper quiet and super smooth. So I'm just not sure if I would do the Duratracs again, even though I don't really have anything against them. In order to put these Method race wheels on the truck, you can't use your factory lug nuts anymore. So I had to get, I think they're Gorilla nuts or something, I can't remember. These are $73.32. That's an extra expense you have to figure, kind of plan for if you're gonna upgrade the wheels on your vehicle. You can't reuse your original lug nuts. Let's talk performance, and it's a lifted SUV. There's not a whole lot of it here to talk about. And honestly, I only really have 2 performance upgrades on this entire vehicle. I've got a set of Doug Thorley headers. These are the short tube ones with the factory cats welded to them. So it passes emissions perfect. I'm running the factory Y pipe and all that kind of stuff. It's just a straight swap, the factory manifolds for these short tube headers. I just checked, and these headers on Burtman Industries are $1,095. And I think the biggest concern with these is not necessarily the price. They're an awesome product, but it just seems like they're out of stock all the time. And I'm pretty sure Doug Thorley has changed where their facility is and they've rebuilt or something. I'm not sure what's going on. I want to reach out to them one of these days just to talk to them about it. But these can be kind of hard to source, no matter how much money you've got in your pocket. So from the headers, I've got pretty much the factory mid pipe. I'm still running all the cats again. And I have a Gibson stainless catback exhaust on this. And this is the black tipped model. It's the stainless steel version. You can get them just in like galvanized steel, I think, as well. Don't bother, especially if you live in like an area that uses road salt like I do. Those exhausts just rot right out within like a year or two. This stainless one has a good warranty and everything, so I think it's worth the extra cost. The Gibson exhaust, again on Bertman Industries, is $559.97. And I think that's a pretty good deal for a catback system. It sounds great, it holds up great. Like, yeah, it's got some staining on it. Again, it's driving in a crappy climate, but no complaints there. It's holding up great, and I'm still really happy with it. I just did a recent video reviewing it, kind of like a long-term review, and spoiler alert, I still love it. I don't know if this really counts as a performance upgrade, but I have a Hewitt Technologies secondary air injection system bypass kit on this, and that's $155. Super easy install, it takes like 10 minutes, and it just deletes the whole system. That can be a very expensive fix if you have to take it to the dealer or something, if your truck goes into limp mode. And for $155, I feel like that is a great investment to be able to just avoid all of those potential problems. My system was working perfectly when I bypassed it, so you can also use that kit if you do have a check engine light on or you're running some codes. But talk to the guys at Hewitt Tech first just to make sure, because they have a few different options, a few different kits that they sell. And if you do have problems with your system, you got to make sure that you get the right kit, because the one that I have might not fix all of the different problems. Up next, we've got the TRD Pro Style Grill from Trail Runner Customs, and these go for $249.99, and I think they're a great deal. Again, I've shared this in a blog post on the website, which, by the way, go on there and read some articles, will you? Just do a little bit of reading. It's good for your brain to exercise your reading skills, you know? So these grills, love them or hate them, also come with Raptor lights. It's included with the price. So whether you want them or not, you get them. You don't have to install them if you don't want to. I had them on for a bit. I took them off. I like it. I think it looks cleaner without them. I also color matched mine myself. I just rattle canned it. I went to the local auto body supply place and got color matched spray paint. I can't remember what I paid for that. I didn't write it down. I think it was probably about $100. Now the bug deflector. I get so many friggin' comments about the bug deflector. It's so funny that people are so interested in something like that. From what I can tell on mine, it's an actual Toyota part. And based on what I've read online, it sounds like those weren't really available at the American dealerships. The original owner of my 4Runner got it when she bought the 4Runner, I guess. So it was dealer installed. It's a Toyota piece, and good luck trying to find a Toyota one. However, I have good news for you people. I got so many questions about it, so many people inquiring, that I actually did a little bit of digging around and I found an aftermarket company that sells one that it's almost the exact same design. It's from a company called FormFit. FormFit sells them for $119.92. So that's definitely worth looking into if you're just like so gung-ho on getting the same bug deflector as me. That's probably your best chance of finding one. On that note, I gotta say that AVS window visors, or auto vent shade, I guess they're referred to sometimes, those are $64.99. I like them. You can just crack your windows when it's pouring rain out, get a little fresh air in, keeps your windows from fogging up. It's just a nice little upgrade for very little money. The roof rack is a Sherpa Princeton, and it's $1,399. I think it's worth every bit of that, especially if you really need a rack for your vehicle. If you're camping, you want to put a tent up there, or you want a really clean way of mounting your accessory lighting and stuff like that. Sherpa, in my opinion, is the best in the business. The way that they designed this rack is fantastic. The install was like super easy. I can't say enough good about it. I don't have any downsides to this. I'm so happy that I put this rack on this 4Runner. We got a Nightlight 32-inch dual row light bar in the front bumper, and that was $115.75. I think the 32-inch curved size is like the best fit for at least the facelifted 4th gens like this one. I didn't include any pricing for brackets or anything because I just made my own and they're awful. I regret it. I should have just bought some from Cali Raised or something, and maybe I still will. Also in the front bumper there are a pair of Bosla Bullet LED fog light bulbs, and these ones, they're kind of cool, I guess. You can switch them on and off with the factory switch through 3 different modes, so you can have them in clear white, and then sort of in between, and then amber. And there's actually a 4th mode where they're flashing yellow, and I hate that. When are you ever going to use that? But it's just kind of annoying to have to cycle past that one in order to get to the other ones, but whatever, it's fine. Those are $119.99. I've got a set of Oxydo LED headlight bulbs, and actually both the 4Runner and the Tacoma. I got them in the low beams and the high beams of the 4Runner, so I added those two costs together, and that equals $179.98. You got to make sure that you have those aimed properly though, because these are bright as crap for, oh man, for LEDs, like compared to HIDs, these are really, really bright, and you will get flashed. You will be blinding people if you don't make sure that they're aimed properly. So you got to take that extra step. I got some lighting on the roof too. So up top, I've got a 41-inch slim light. So it's pretty skinny, and I have it mounted at the Sherpa rack, and it sits like perfectly flush in there. Really low profile, really nice fit. Kind of wish I would have got a little bit wider maybe. I got a little bit more space within the rack that I could have used, but this works great. That light was $157.48. Man, I gotta start wearing glasses or something. I can barely see this screen. I also have a set of Nightlight chase lights that I mounted to the back of the rack, and those were $100.35, and they're great too. Controlling all of the lighting and all the accessories that I put into the 4Runner in the future is an Auxbeam AR600 switch panel. And man, this is a great way to clean up the wiring under the hood. I had a whole rat's nest of relays and fuses and stuff for each individual light going straight to the battery. This cleans all of that up, and it gives you a really great spot to just have all of the switches for your components in one spot. That goes for $239.99, and I think it's worth every penny. The wiring is super quick and easy. You just plug it directly in. You don't worry about a switch. You don't worry about fuses, relays, any of that crap. When I'm on my way to the gym with the death metal blaring so badly that I'll probably lose my hearing within a matter of 3 or 4 years, I've got a Pioneer DMH2660 Nex. This is an older head unit. It's got Apple CarPlay and Android Auto and all that kind of stuff, but it is wired, so you have to plug your phone in. But it does work pretty good. I paid a lot more for this back when I installed it than they're going for now. I'm assuming like anything else in the electronics world, they just lose their value pretty quick. But believe it or not, you can still get one on Amazon for $498, which is a pretty darn good deal, I think, for, again, a fairly modern head unit. But the Pioneer brand is nice. There's a lot of Chinese ones out there nowadays, and if you care about the company you're buying from, then Pioneer has always been a very reputable company. Moving into the back, I've got a Set Power 12-volt refrigerator. This is the PT45 model. Those go for $379, and I have it mounted to a Set Power fridge slider, which is $229. And I just have that slider bolted to the package tray shelf that comes in these 4Runners. I just have it laid flat, and then I drilled right through it and bolted the slider to that. And it's fairly solid. I think it's good enough. Also back there, I have some camping lights that I mounted inside the hatch. These are from Osnium, and these are $67.85, which is kind of a ridiculous price for two little LED bulbs, but they're crazy bright, and I think they're actually marine lights, so they're at least weather resistant, if not like waterproof. But so you don't have to worry about having your hatch open and it's starting to rain or whatever. I have just like one of those cheap rocker switches to control them in the back, and I didn't bother putting the price of that in there because that's kind of a personal preference thing. You can find any kind of switch that you want to control those. I guess the only real thing remaining here is I did get the front two windows tinted to match the rest of the factory tint. I think it ended up being like 30% or something like that. I could be wrong, but it's a fairly close match, and I think the guy charged me like $50 a window. So that was another $100 to get the tint continued throughout the whole vehicle. One more thing, if you really want yours to look like exactly like mine, a big part of why mine looks so good when I clean it up is because I did correct the paint and ceramic coat it. So if you're gonna pay for somebody to do that, that's gonna run you another $1,000 to $2,000 depending on the condition of your paint, what kind of polishing it really needs to be prepared for the coating. A lot of times, especially on a truck like this, they've seen some crap, so they're gonna require a lot of correction to get them ready. And then the cost of the coating itself, and ceramic coatings are different prices. People that apply them charge different prices, so you can kind of shop around there. But that's kind of a rough estimate to factor in as well if you do want your vehicle to look like this one does. So, drum roll, everybody. Can I get a drum roll? No? The only one out here? Okay. We got the grand total of $20,455.39. And that's including the cost of the 4Runner itself. So if you think about it, I consider that to be a pretty good deal compared to what else is out there. And again, from my previous video where I compared it to a 5th gen TRD Pro, which a brand new one is $70,000 here in Canada. If you convert that 20 grand to Canadian, it works out to $27,705. So yeah, that's a good chunk of money, but in comparison to a $70,000 TRD Pro, it seems like a bargain. And I know some of you guys are saying, well, this doesn't have a rear locker like the Pro has. Okay, that's true, and that's definitely a disadvantage that mine has, but it ain't gonna cost me $30,000 to add a locker to the axle, that's for darn sure. And as far as crawl control and stuff like that, how about just grow up and learn how to drive off-road yourself? Well, that's gonna make some people angry. But anyways, that's the breakdown of my 4Runner and what it cost to build. Again, remember, I didn't pay that necessarily myself. Some of the companies send me stuff for free. They don't pay me to review this stuff or to only talk good about it or something like that. I refuse to do that. My rule of thumb is just kind of, if somebody wants to send me something, I'll test it out and I'll tell the world what my opinion is of it. Overall, I'm very happy with the 4Runner still. I have no intentions of selling it anytime soon. My biggest problem with it is constantly battling the rust. Or in this case, trying to avoid the rust in the first place. As soon as it rains in the month of December, they go out with the salt trucks and just start hosing everything down with road salt. So staying on top of undercoating and keeping the paint protected, just trying to keep it clean and trying to keep the crap off of it is my main concern. And if I can do that, I will keep this forever and I will give this to my son. That's my number one goal, is to try and keep this thing running. Keep it rust free for as long as I can. I don't want to sell this. I don't want to replace it with anything else. The Tacoma is a different story. There's a lot of different Toyota trucks out there that I really want to experience. I really want to try. I want to own them. I want to play with them. I want to polish them up and flip them. So stay tuned. The bigger this channel grows, the more opportunity I have to do that kind of stuff. And that's what I really want to do. But anyways, 20 grand for a 4th gen 4Runner with a V8 in it. Sounds awesome. Looks cool. It's awesome off-road. Super reliable and super comfortable as a daily driver for the family. So that's the official number for you guys. If you want to build it yourself, make sure to go and check out the article that I have linked in the description. If you want links to all these parts, I have them all laid out for you. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. I hope you found it interesting, and I will catch you on the next one. See ya.